All right, everyone. Welcome back to Bid Nerds, your daily nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. I need a cup of coffee. I have not woken up this morning. I feel like I'm a little. I need to run some laps or do something. Someone smack me in the head with a fish, I'll wake up. Hey, my name is John Polnik. We are recording this show from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas, Nevada, along with my partner, Michael Deeb, who is way over in San Francisco. He is not here. He is somewhere else. How are you this morning, Michael Deeb?
Great to be alive, JP. What's happening?
You know, we're here to talk about the most interesting cars of the day, like we do every day. What we do is we dig through P-Car Market, bring a trailer, Cars and Bids, Marked, Shiftgate, a bunch of other auction sites that you never heard of. We find the most interesting car, and then we go ahead and talk about it, tell you all about that car, and then we make a prediction as to what will happen with that car on its respective auction. Will it sell? Will it not sell? And for how much? We will tell you. And then once we tell you, then we'll prove it. We'll show you what happened. We'll take a little break, and then boom, just like that, you time travel in the future, and you will see what happened with that car's auction. So let's get to the cars, because unlike our good friend Buddha, who disagrees with me when I say nobody cares about us, he says, I think people just tune in for the cars. He says, no, people like you guys. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Buddha, you're a great guy, but you're wrong. Totally wrong.
Oh, my God.
I wish you were right. He's a great guy. If he were the host of the show, people would tune in for him, but certainly not for us. Look at this car. Michael Deeb, what do you think of this thing? What's going on?
JP, I picked this car for you. Remember, you had, like a year ago, you had a similar E1 platform Cayenne Turbo with the very rare take of PDCC, the Porsche Dynamic Chassis Control, which is like an electronically governed active suspension that makes the thing handle like crazy. You love that car. You drove that car faster than any 911 I've ever seen you drive when we do the Overton run. And I regret not buying that car from you. So when I saw this one, it reminded me of you and that car that you owned a year ago. What we're looking at is an E1. That is the first generation of the Cayenne. This is a 2005 turbo offered out of Orange, California with just 26,000 original miles. Now, JP, maybe you know a little more about these than I do. This car has PASM, Porsche's active suspension management system. I want to assert that all turbos came with that standard. Is that fair to say, or was that, you think, good on?
Yeah, I think they all had PASM, but I don't know if you could get PDC in this generation.
No. Then the car also has a Bose sound system. It's got 20-inch wheels. This seller also provides a certificate of authenticity. And then the modification that I thought was worth mentioning, it's pretty cool, it's got a car graphics exhaust system. And that big 4.5, 4.8 liter V8 probably sounds really good coming through that exhaust. I bet this thing rocks and rolls. But the big thing here, JP, is the condition. It's super low miles, 26,000 miles. Black on black, super attractive colorway. The silver wheels pop, the red brake calipers pop, and I bet this thing sounds like a beast. You and I have both driven these cars. They're really great cars. I know they can be high maintenance and a little bit problematic. There's probably not a warranty out there that'll cover everything on these cars because of the age. So if you can afford to roll with one of these and maintain it, the occasional little thing that I'm sure you'll mention that is outrageously expensive. But if you can live with that, this is a lot of car here for the money, because these were 100,000 six-figure cars back in period, and now they are a fraction of that cost. And this one still looks to be in, very similar to like new condition. Look at the condition of this car underneath, JP. It looks like it just rolled off the showroom floor. I also contest that in Orange, California, it doesn't ever rain. They voted and they just have sunshine every day. So this car has lived a very easy life. It certainly hasn't been owned by the likes of you or me. So what do you think, JP? What's to like and what's to be wary of? Because I know you've got a few cautionary tales for our viewers that a couple of the parts on these can be breathtakingly expensive. But again, if you're okay with that, this is a steal, right?
Look at this thing. How many miles does it have on it?
26,000 original.
It looks like it has 26. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you see exteriors all the time. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, they can detail that, but it's impossible to make. I mean, look at the underside of this thing. That's remarkable. Wow.
Yeah, looks like a new car.
I don't even get it. You know, like if I saw it, this almost makes me wonder. It's like, how is that possible? Have you seen the people are doing that dry ice cleaning and stuff, and that cleans things up really well. But this, like the original stickers and stuff, it looks like this car was driven for 26,000 miles and then parked. And has it been driven since then? I don't know. Good Lord, that's amazing.
JP, I have a theory that this car did 6,000 miles on treadmill.
Yeah, right? And I mean, wow. Yes, there are some parts of these that are unbelievably expensive. Most people, if you've been looking at a Cayenne, you probably know about things like the drive shafts failing, and that's not, you know, the end of the world on cost. It's not cheap or anything like that. That's a really common problem. Coil packs are also kind of a common problem with Porsches of this era. But the things you get into, like all cars are going to have things like, I don't know, fuel pumps and stuff like that, or alternators go bad. And in most cars, all right, that can be expensive, but it's usually not catastrophic. Sit down. This particular vehicle has a liquid-cooled alternator, and it requires the entire drivetrain to be removed from the car. And if you can just start to imagine how much it will cost to remove the entire drivetrain from this thing, it's probably a $20-something thousand vehicle now, but they were hundreds of thousands of dollars when they were new, and the car doesn't know how much it's worth now. But the maintenance, it doesn't. The maintenance, it still thinks it's $100-something thousand car. So I mean, normally looking at when I say stay away from these are just too expensive. You know, a fuel pump is going to cost you $3,500 or something.
Yeah.
But with 26,000 miles, I would think it's reasonable to think that something like the fuel pump or the alternator is probably going to be strong. I mean, why would an alternator? There are components that go bad for age, but I don't really think of alternators as one of them. So if the seals haven't dried up, I've said in other shows that not driving a Porsche is like not storing a bottle of wine correctly. That can have major consequences. I don't know. This vehicle, you might, with that few miles, this kind of is landing in some kind of collector territory, and I don't know how many people are collecting first-gen Cayennes. So this is a head scratcher. This is definitely a stump the chump situation. What a wonderful vehicle to drive around. If you can buy it reasonably at a reasonable price, then it's really like, okay, well, drive it for as long as you can, and when it's time to go ahead and spring for those expensive repairs, well, even at that point, you're probably still a fairly low mileage car. Usually people are trying to figure out this equation with a Cayenne of this era having 70, 80, 100 plus thousand miles on it, and so they're going, I don't know, is this a throwaway, is this just disposable, drive it until something catastrophic happens and then it's a parts car? I don't know, this vehicle, this is pretty interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, JP, it really is in that tweener land where it's in like collector condition, but it's not a collectible. So like, who cares? That being said, I think those photographs from underneath are going to drive the value on this car, and somebody's going to reach for it. So our car is sitting right now, JP. It's going to be 5 days before this closes. We're looking at this car early in the week of the auction lot for this one. So it's sitting at just $21,000 on only 5 bids. But JP, I think that some of these low-mile early Cayennes have brought some real money. Certainly, if this were a GTS stick, I could see this bringing crazy money, especially if it was that clean. But I think this one's still going to do well. So I'm going to go really big here. I'm going to say $42,000, and it's because of the miles and the condition, maybe not because of the model. And then I agree with you. It's buyer beware. If you go out and drive this car, expect there to be occasional, like breathtaking repair bill.
Yeah, the GTS didn't come out until the Dot 2. They did make stick versions of the Dot 1s, but only in the 6 cylinders. So, yeah, you definitely have... what an amazing... These are just drive phenomenally. I mean, if you've got to rip up... if you've got to tear up some highway, if you got a long road trip, there's not many better places to be. You start getting into the $40,000 range, though, and now you're talking about being able to get into things like modern Cayennes or GT or call it Macans and other Porsche crossovers and SUVs that, I mean, for 40 plus, you could easily get into a nice Macan S from somebody like CarMax and get a warranty on it, not have to worry about it, but still have all those wonderful driving capabilities. This thing, you gotta love it if you're going to spend this kind of money. If it were an S, okay, people are probably going to pay premium for S's because those have some kind of collector value. But this thing, I don't know, man. Where do you think it's going to land?
I think $42,000. That's my guess. 42.
That's it. 42 is your number.
Yeah, I'm going to go 42. I know that this car is playing to a very limited audience, right? It's got to be somebody that's got the money, loves the E1 platform, and doesn't care about the maintenance. And that's maybe a handful of guys out there that fit that, that bill. But for the right guy, where do you find another one like it?
I don't think you're off base. I'll go over. I'll say 45. I think such few miles.
Look at you. Jeez, so
and
rare
it's
when you
just,
get over me.
it's so pretty. It's so clean underneath. Those, like you said earlier, the underside is just nuts. And I don't know if I've seen an E1 Cayenne with this few miles in years. I mean, when was the last time you saw one this old with that few miles?
We were looking at another one, but it was a base Cayenne. We decided to just do one Cayenne this week, but there's another Cayenne on Bring a Trailer right now. It's a 2009 base with 15,000 miles that's also black on black and also similarly epic condition. But I thought this one was more interesting because it's the Dot 1 and a turbo. And those pictures underneath that just like, come on, man, that's just crazy. So anyway, we'll see what happens.
That is an interesting comparison. Probably should have brought that one up. I mean, a 2009 is a Dot 2, and the fact that it's the 6-cylinder, way, way, way less power, not even in the same ballpark. No. But talk about a vehicle that will last forever. Those are 200,000-mile vehicles. Right. Cayenne S's with just the regular 8-cylinder, those are incredibly reliable, but the turbos, oof, I mean.
An E1 base. An E1 base model without a stick, like what's the maximum amount of money that car could bring? Like $21,000. Like that car could be a steal for somebody.
Yeah,
like you could rip that car, and then you've got a reliable car that'll last you for a long time.
Yeah, if the price is right, I would almost consider, like, I would trade my Macan GTS for a 2009. Cayenne base with that few miles. I mean, it'd be like buying a Toyota pickup truck. You're done. You don't have to buy another SUV for 20 years. Right. They really are that good. But okay. Let's see what happens with this Turbo Cayenne. Make sure you hit the subscribe, like, and notification buttons, guys, if you haven't done that already. It really is important for the show. We really appreciate when you do that. And but we're going to go ahead and go to commercial break real quick and find out how much this Cayenne sells for, or doesn't, on its auction right after this. Okay, guys, I want to tell you about Vegas Auto Fest. The drivers are coming. This is one of our big sponsors. It's the biggest car show of the year in Las Vegas. It's one of the coolest car shows you can possibly experience anywhere. If you haven't made plans to be part of Vegas Auto Fest on September 17th, then do it now. Go to vegasautofest.com and register your car. You think you're a car enthusiast? Doesn't matter where you live. Plan a trip to Vegas on September 17th and come out and see this show. It's like Monterey Car Week all in a day. Have you ever been to the Quail? Have you ever been to Works Reunion? Have you ever been to Amelia Island? All those car shows are amazing and great. Have you been to Luftkult? Sure, but Vegas Auto Fest is something special. Make a plan. for September 17th. We'll see you in Vegas. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Bid Nerds, your daily nerd out on the most interesting car of the day, continues right here. Now, you guys are sitting there going, all right, let's find out how much this Cayenne went for. And you've been sitting there watching this video. You watched a minute-long commercial about our friends at Vegas Auto Fest. It's been a week since we've been here. So we are just now looking at this Cayenne Turbo. We talked a lot about it just moments ago. Michael Deeb, what happened at the end of the auction for this 2005 Cayenne Turbo?
2005 Cayenne Turbo out of Orange, California. That is basically just broken in. JP, you may remember this was the cleanest Cayenne we'd ever seen from underneath, with just 26,000 original miles and like no road grime or dirt on the underside of the suspension or the gearbox or any of the wheel wells. This car looks like it was just built. I mean, it's cleaner than showroom. We did kind of oversell this one. I mean, I thought 42,000, and then I seemingly goaded you into the over because you bet $45,000. Our car sold, John, on Bring a Trailer for just $38,000. I'd say, I mean, I'd still say that's kind of all the money for an. Is the 05 the E1 version 1.0, or is the 05 the beginning of version 2.0 of the E1? Let me ask you that question.
It's still version 1. The second gen didn't start till 2008.
So maybe that is all the money for the first version of the Cayenne. I'd still say it's well sold, but I would definitely say it's well built, bought. That's a lot of car for the money with just 26,000 miles, and in this kind of cosmetic condition. Just a really neat driving car with PASM and all that horsepower and all this stuff. Really neat vehicle, really neat price. What do you think, John? I mean, you think that it should have gone to 45, or did this guy rip it, or is that all the money?
I don't know what I was smoking thinking it was that high. I mean, I guess it's just I got so enamored by the photos of the underside of this vehicle. I'm clicking through to get to those. It just was. It looked like it had 2 miles on it. It didn't look like it had 26,000 miles. I mean, look at this, guys. This is insane. Look at this underside. I know you guys just saw this, but here we are looking at it again. That looks brand spanking new. The E1 though, the first version did not come. PDDC was not available yet. That didn't come out to the second gen. And I think if you're going to get all the money for a turbo Cayenne of the early era, the top is one with PDDC, a turbo S, or maybe a GTS with a manual and PDDC. Those are all that's where you want to go to pay for all, if you're going to get the top of what a Cayenne could possibly be. But this thing is still amazing. I mean, I don't get how this thing's this clean. I still don't understand. I mean, is it 26,000 miles in a warehouse?
Yeah, right. And it's a verified one owner on the Carfax. And then JP, let me ask you this question, and I think you have it up on your computer. I was telling you about BAT ran just a day before this. They ran a 2009 base Cayenne with just a normally aspirated V6 that only had 18,000 miles on it, and that car brought $30,600 located in Wisconsin. So my question to you, as we sort of juxtapose these two cars to one another, is that premium of like $7,500? Doesn't it seem like you get a lot more car for the $7,500? Because this base Cayenne at 30 grand, that's a rip, but it's arguably maybe less maintenance, less headaches because it's just the base model. Would you champion that sentiment, or do you think that's unfair?
I don't think I would touch a first-gen turbo. I mean, I just wouldn't even consider it unless it was like at CarMax and had a warranty, one of those crazy CarMax warranties, which I don't think CarMax would even carry something that old anymore.
So
for
17 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, you can talk, our good friends, Tony Mazzagatti over at 900 series here in Las Vegas. He will tell you, he has a first-gen Cayenne S. So not a turbo, so the V8 version. And that vehicle, he swears by the V8s. He says the V8s are the more reliable of the three. Yeah. And in my personal experience, I've owned .2 V6s and found them to be exceptionally reliable. And when you look at ads for these, it's not uncommon to see ads for V6s with 200-something thousand miles on them.
Crazy.
He complains about the direct injection of the V6, and I think the V8 must not have that or something, or at least the first gens didn't. So I don't know. I think fuel economy is playing a big factor into people's buying decisions right now. We are definitely seeing that with the value of G-Wagons and Land Rover Defenders and those sorts of things, the big boxy utilitarian poor fuel economy vehicles. The difference between the fuel economy between a V6 and an S, even though the displacement is quite significant, the fuel economy difference isn't. And the amount of power that you get out of the V8 is significantly more. The V6
so
is a bit gutless with the Slushbox Tiptronic, but you know, it's fine. It'll still get out of its own way. It's still fun to drive. It's still a great vehicle. But yeah, the turbo, you're talking about so much complexity, and we talked about it before the break. I mean, just good Lord. No way would I would touch those.
Yeah, parts can be breathtakingly expensive. So yeah, I guess maybe that's all the money for what it is. It's not an Uber collector. If it was a Turbo S, or a GTS with a manual, but those didn't come out till .2 anyway. So best of the breed, still not worth a lot of money, but that base Cayenne with low miles, certainly that's a car somebody could buy and then put it into use, and there's a lot of value there. Hence, it brought 30 grand, which is a ton.
That's crazy. Yeah, it really is.
Probably the more surprising of the two results. But anyway, there you go, JP.
All right, so you're gonna run out to you're gonna start looking for an E1 Cayenne. I know you have a next gen Cayenne. You have a diesel. I
got the diesel. Although, God, dude, that car is so chewed up. Like the dogs and my wife and the elements and everything like that. The car cosmetically, it's really sad. But it's such a great car to drive. But since I've met you, I've really wanted an E1 platform Cayenne, and so I think a GTS manual is in my future. One of these days, probably get a house first, but anyway.
Why on earth would you trade in a diesel Cayenne for a gas earlier GTS? I mean, isn't that diesel?
No. She'll keep her Cayenne, and I'll just get one for myself.
Ah, it's an add to the collection.
Two Cayenne family. Now that we have two pit bulls and an infant, I can't get a GTI. We won't squeeze into an Audi wagon anymore. So I think we'll be a two Cayenne family, and those will be our rigs.
That makes the sense. All right, guys. Well, there it is. Another episode of Bid Nerd, your daily nerd on the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. You guys must have hit the subscribe button by now, or the notification button. You got to do all the things. You got to know when fresh nerds are available. Got to hit that notification button. Got to hit that subscribe button. Why don't you do us a solid and share this thing, man? Come on. You watch the nerds. You're a nerd, too. Spread some nerd love around, right? Tell some people. Let's get some people watching this show, and we could really use your help, and we would love it if you would spread the word. Maybe we'll make some merch soon.
Yes.
Like this fancy water bottle, this Bid Nerds water bottle. Okay, it's not a Bid Nerds water bottle. I just put a sticker on it. I think we might have some stickers around somewhere. But we do really appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Put a comment down below and let us know what you think the most interesting car of the day might be in a future auction. And maybe we'll have a conversation about that car. Michael Deeb, what do you think?
I think we're good. Let's go.
You think that's it? All right.
I think that's it. Yep.
Thanks for watching, guys.